So,
Hello.
hey. So, chat. If you have questions for Spencer or Krystal, feel free to throw them in there, and I will ask them. But for now, I want to ask you guys, as you are both veteran audiobook narrators and veteran punch and rollers, um, what is something about the either the audiobook industry or the recording sessions themselves as you work on an audiobook? What's something that you know now that you didn't know when you started? What have you discovered about this art and this business as you've been working through them?
Krystal, would you like kick it quickly over to you so I can
Okay, the
think
first
and
thing-
you vamp while I.
So, in terms of the industry, I did not have any idea just how kind people are in general. That's something you hear a lot about the audiobook world, but it's true. When I first started, I was alone in my closet and very judgmental of myself and really just was like, I'm just going off of vibes here. I don't know what I'm doing. And then when I first started with my performance coach, Shannon Parks,
Oh, fantastic.
she was just so like, yeah, she's excellent and wonderful. She was basically like, no, you're on the right track. Here, let's tweak some things and stuff. And she was my first introduction to like the community, and a wonderful introduction. And then, just getting started on like meeting people on Clubhouse and finally in real life at APAC this year. The things that people say about this community being genuinely kind and genuinely helping each other, I have found thus far in my journey to be true. So
Yeah.
I think that's one thing I had no clue about when I got started doing this, and it was a very, very pleasant surprise.
Yeah, it
I was
really
gonna
is
say,
a
that's
fantastic
nice.
community. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what
I
about
met
you?
some good authors as well, by the way, just to add on to that. Like, it's been a delight working with, the people who write the stuff I read. Most of them have been really like phenomenal and good people to just kind of get to know. Sometimes you don't get the chance, but on the times that I have, it's been a delight.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I guess in my case, I entered voiceover initially, aside from a couple little things that I did, into audiobooks. And so, it's a lot slower burn when you when you're getting started than I think a lot of people think it is. And then TikTok or, certain YouTube videos would have you believe. Like, it takes a long time to get going.
Yeah.
If you've been working in the industry for a while, you already have an idea of what it takes to record, what it takes to, get your stuff edited, or, you have some other professionals that you work with and you can command some pretty good rates. But when you start, and I got lucky, but it can be pretty slow going, especially in the first couple books that you do. It's picked up quite a bit, but that was one thing that, you don't expect there to be as much post as there is when it hits you.
Yeah.
in
no
the
doubt.
beginning.
No doubt.
It's nice to have an editor later, but when you're kind of shoestringing it, it's like, oh man, I didn't realize how much noise my mouth makes. I guess I could have led with that one. It makes way more noise than you think it does.
Oh God, yeah. I went through this phase. I imagine most narrators do, where like not only was I hearing every tiny little micro noise my mouth makes, I was hearing everybody's. Like, I'd watch TV and I'd be yelling at the TV, like, "How can you let this person on? Can't you hear what their mouths are doing?" And
This is Netflix.
yeah, I eventually realized that means that it's much more okay than we start to think it is.
Right.
But yeah, super hyper aware.
Yeah, it took a long time for me to just go, you know what? It doesn't matter. Nobody's hearing it but me. I'm hearing it.
And if your proofer is like, "Oh no, that was a little loud," then you fix it. So I know that both of you have a nice amount of horror work on your resumes. So I wanted to ask you both, what is it about that genre that you find compelling? What draws you to that work? And Krystal, you answered first, so I'm going to let you off the hook for the first answer here. So Spencer, what is it about the horror genre that draws you in?
Yeah. lucky me, because I've sort of got an answer off the cuff. Aside from the the excitement and the titillating fun, the sort of tension, a lot of the horror that I've done manages to say some pretty profound things about whatever topic it's getting into. And I think horror has a long history of doing that. Think about Night of the Living Dead. Mm-hmm. And different types of franchises that will say, okay, we'll set this in a shopping mall. And it's, on one hand, it's going to be scary. There's going to be zombies and all that type of stuff. But also, we're going to take a stab at, consumer culture and stuff like that. And some of the horror that I've worked on has done the same thing. It doesn't all have to make a statement. But I love the way that horror can also take a critical eye at the society at large in which it's written, and can have some more profound than you think things to say about that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, given the way that it's sort of set up to look at things that are terrible and force you to confront it, 100%. Krystal, what about you?
Honestly, a lot of what Spencer just said is true for me as well. I love it when my fiction has a lot of meat to it and actually says something about the world. I think when I first started getting into horror, like as someone who was like sneaking movies and stuff like that, the thing that I liked about it is that happy endings were not a guarantee. Like I could go into it and I wouldn't know how it was going to end, really and truly, because if people just end up getting offed at the end. Sometimes the bad guy wins.
Yeah, it's on the table.
Yeah, no plot armor.
Yeah, everything is on the table. Like anyone can die, and I liked not being able to tell what was going to happen, because I had been studying story structure for a long time at that point, and on some of these highly structured TV shows and books and stuff, I could tell about a third of the way in how it was going to go down just because of how I understand story structure. So that horror was never guaranteed. I liked that. Like I would have an idea, but I wouldn't ever be able to fully, completely guess. So that's why I started really falling in love with it, in addition to what Spencer said.
Yeah, something to pull a Psycho. I keep referencing movies, but that was crazy when it came out because your protagonist died. And then, at that time, everybody was like, what is happening? We've gone off the rails. And horror can do that in a really cool way sometimes.
Yeah.
And in a kind of pessimistic note, it also feels more real to me, like more true to life, because things don't always turn out. And I know that sounds terrible, but it's also true. Like the submarine people were not rescued.
Yeah.
In a movie, if that was a thriller, they would have been rescued. But
that's right.
Yeah. So sorry, that was kind of a downer. But
no, but I think you're right, and it's like all of the pre-Disney-fied fairy tales are all dark and horrible and bad. Things happen all the time because awful things do happen in life, and those stories can help us prepare a little bit.
There can
for
still be
when
some
those things happen.
catharsis in that.
Yeah,
I think so.
Even when things don't turn out how you want them to.
Although to shift around to things that are good now and awesome, the chat really wants to know where your cat pillow is, Spencer.
It's in the moving crate. It's in the moving truck. Oh no! So I'm in Kentucky right now. I was in Washington last time you saw me, and the next time you see me, I'll be in Connecticut. But the next time, cat pillow. I'm in a totally different place with none of my belongings. That's why I sound and look like crap right now.
Yeah. So your audiobooks have a much more solid sound quality to them, no doubt.
Than this.
No doubt. And while the chat is insistent that the cat pillow rejoins the stream, by the way. So you got to make it happen. You got 2 weeks. You got to make it happen. I really desperately feel the need to sit here and chat with you guys about different genres for the next hour, but we do have a game to finish up. So let me ask you guys, tell us about a book that you'd like to plug, that you'd like people to go out and listen to. Krystal?
Okay, Krystal, go.
Okay, yeah, we're alternating.
Yeah.
So it just dropped yesterday. It's called Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. Big topic warning on this one. It deals directly with the impact of SA. But it is so well done. The topic is handled very, very tastefully and well, and it's an excellent book about dealing with some pretty serious topics, and it kind of goes true to life too. It doesn't have the happy ending that you really, really want, but it does have a hopeful ending.
That could feel good too. Yeah.
Yeah. And Spencer, what about you?
In my case, I plugged one of my horrors the last time, so let's go. You asked me in the beginning about the start of my audiobook career. The first lucky break I got was The Nothing Mage, which was is a fantasy trilogy about a boy who discovers in a world full of magic, his is unlike any other. And I can't remember how deep into the book stuff is given away, so I don't exactly want to say a lot, but he has a very special and dangerous type of magic, and it's a fantasy trilogy that was a lot of fun to narrate, and it's probably got the most raw type of performance because I was just starting at that time, so I hadn't really refined my stuff, but sometimes those performances can be really resonating. So check out The Nothing Mage. That was a lot of fun and really broke me into the industry.
Right on. Yeah, everybody give those books a listen.